Hello and welcome to the Night Feed. I'm your host, Charlotte, here to bring you some comfort, camaraderie, and conversation and keep you company during, let's face it, one of the toughest parts of being a new parent, the Night Feed. Tonight's unpaid sponsor is getting in the shower and forgetting your shampoo and conditioner. Don't get me wrong, it's usually there, isn't it? But the one time you move it, you can guarantee it's when you as a mum have ventured into the shower to have an everything shower, to shave, wash your hair, maybe even exfoliate if you're feeling really indulgent. And this happened to me last night. I stepped in, I was enjoying the steamy shower, getting my hair wet because it was an everything shower, not a speed shower, and looked down to pick up my new shampoo, and it wasn't there, was it? Along with my conditioner. So you're probably thinking, well, just get out, get dried. What's the big deal? But no. I persevered. I saw a bar of Dove soap. And I thought, you know what? When I went travelling with just a rucksack, that Dove soap got me through. I washed my hair with it. I shaved my legs with it. I washed my face with it. And my skin was great, you know. It probably had a lot to do with the vitamin D in Southeast Asia, don't get me wrong. But the Dove Beauty Bar works wonders. And no, this episode is not sponsored by Dove, but it pulled through and I washed my hair with it in the shower and I did shave my legs and I washed my face and I persevered. I topped it off with a little bit of original mint sauce, that shower gel that stings if you get in your eyes. And I felt fine. And if there's one moral to this story, it's that us mums, if we're anything, we are resourceful. Well, hello and welcome back. Happy New Year. Have we all enjoyed the festive no man's land between Christmas and New Year? I hope you've indulged, rested. I hope you've enjoyed a slower pace of life for a few days. My dreaded laundry pile shrunk this week. Why, I thought, what appears to be wrong here? I thought I'm no longer battling Everest. For once, I have but a small mound on my hands. Then I realised it's because we've been living in pyjamas and I'm finally conquering that pile. I hope your Christmases as mums were magical, and I hope equally that you are not falling for any of these New Year, New Me fad diets, fad life-changing plans that the media tell us as mums we need to be embracing. Those social media ads start dripping through, don't they, from around the 26th of December? Like, come on, guys, at least let us indulge in the Christmas dinner leftovers and our children's chocolate selection boxes. And on this note, as you can probably tell, I'm not one for these New Year fads like Veganuary, Dry January. I think they set us up to binge come February. However, I am setting myself a different challenge and I want you to hold me accountable to this. This morning, Jason took the girls and I had a little lie-in. And when I woke up, I didn't reach for my phone to do the usual daily waste of 20 minutes on Instagram and TikTok, or more some days, when you just scroll and then you realise when you put your phone down, you've just wasted a good proportion of your morning. So no, I stopped myself this morning. I thought, do you ever feel great after doing that? Do you really need to know what that family from Arizona got up to last night? Do you really need to cloud your mind with posts that you think you're consuming passively, but really they're actually negatively affecting your mental health, even if you don't think they are, even if you feel great? I think it does have a negative impact. Social media is a drug. We get a dopamine hit. We get served content that sucks us in. And I have realised that social media is using me at the moment and I don't like it. So as of today, I'm having a social media detox. I want to see how it affects me. I want to see if it alters how I think, and I want to see how productive I am without throwing all that time I spend scrolling away. And like I said, you guys, my lovely listeners, are going to keep me in check. I will be reporting back to you next week on how it has made me feel. And I'll be so disappointed in myself if I have to tell you I caved on day 3, but I will be honest. So full disclosure, TikTok and Instagram are responsible for the growth of this podcast. So I am allowing myself a small proportion of the day to post on my business accounts, which is the night feed. But I am not allowed on my personal accounts. I'm also only to go on these accounts to post and be productive. So there you have it. No continual scrolling, no checking people's stories, no wasting my life on social media. And if you would like to join me on the journey, please do. Let me know how you get on. I'll be downloading Duolingo for all those times I reach for Instagram, brushing up on my German again, which is far more productive than scrolling on Instagram. And I know the argument sometimes is, well, that sometimes I find really good ideas on there. And I do. I find great baking ideas for my kids. I find useful tips and things. But then I'm like, well, is that actually worth the amount of time that I spend just laughing at memes and looking at people that I don't even know and getting down about certain things that I see? It's like, it's so bad for us. And we're so conditioned to go on it and use it that actually I'm having a break from it. And if you want to come on the journey, I genuinely love to know how you get on, if it makes you feel better, and we can spur each other on. So email me, thenightfeedpodcast@gmail.com. So whilst in Christmas no man's land, have we been watching anything good? I know our TVs are dominated by babies and toddlers in the day, but are we managing to indulge in anything during the evening? I feel like some really great TV and films are dropping at the moment, and they hold them back, don't they? They put out absolutely nothing in November and December, and then Christmas goes, and bam, it's like all of a sudden there's too much to watch. My question is, are we watching Squid Game? I am so on the fence about this program. If you don't know, it's a Korean TV program that's on Netflix. Season 2 just dropped, I think, on Boxing Day, and it's been highly anticipated. The first season was, I would say, quite mind-blowing in a bad and good way. It's about people taking part in these games, and they genuinely get killed in the games, and it's all to battle for the piggy bank at the end, which is a lot of money. So it's all people that are in debt and in bad financial situations, and it's quite interesting, the human psychology of it. And I do think they really do know how to combine comedy and sick, needless killing. It is quite interesting how they do it. However, I know I've spoken about this on the podcast before, and I have never been one for guts and gore, needless killing, etc. But since becoming a mum, I really, really struggle to watch anything with this type of content. My empathy gene has just shot through the roof. So Squid Game is a hard watch for me at times. But I tell you what, like I said, the human psychology side of it is compelling, and it's worth a watch in my opinion. So I found an article this week, and it's about the fertility rate in the UK, but also kind of globally at the moment. And did you know that in England and Wales, the fertility rate is now at an all-time low? So according to this article, it said it's just over 500,000 babies were born in 2023, which is fewer than any year, this is in England and Wales, since 1977, and a fall of more than 14,000 on the previous year. The average age of new mums and dads has increased to 33.8 for fathers and 30.9 for mothers. I was 31 when I had my first, so going off that bang average for the UK. While the number of births fell to a record low last year, the number of women of childbearing age was at its all-time high at 12 million. This meant the total fertility rate in 2023 was the lowest recorded since 1938. But research suggests that millennials born up to the mid 1990s are not having children because of financial pressures, not feeling ready, or not having found the right partner, which I actually think are the real reasons for the low birth rate. I think there are so many women in my age group, and the article actually quotes that when the researchers looked into what reasons for why, financial and work pressures were often cited for those born in 1989 to 90, which is my birth year. And I do speak to many mothers who openly say they're not having any more because of financial strains, or they're not having any more because they don't have a house big enough and they would never be able to have a house big enough. And they have also put off kids because of financial strains, so we're having them later. And I've said on here before, we are sold this dream of having a career and kids, and then we're getting asked by pensioners at age 25 why we haven't had kids yet. And now we're being told the fertility rate is its lowest on record, when this is absolutely not, in my opinion, the leading reason for the low birth rate. I know more people nowadays are opting not to have children, which is their choice, and that's absolutely fine. They're open with that, and more people are saying that. But a big part of this low birth rate, I believe, is, the financial pressures of our generation. The fact that, like I said, we've been sold this, you go and get a career. Oh, by the way, you've got a biological clock. So whilst you're building your career, you might get to your 30s and you might struggle to conceive, because we know that our prime fertility age is about 19, isn't it? So naturally, as we get older, our fertility rate drops. So that, in my opinion, is why more and more people are struggling in their 30s, because we are older in our 30s. But like I say, a lot of us have been told, get your career, build that up, and then, by the time you get to 30, you're going to need to start thinking about children. And I just think it's such a ridiculous thing to say, the fertility rate's dropping. It's like, no, I don't think the fertility rate is dropping necessarily. I think the conditions around having children have changed completely. Like when people say, I could never have more because I can't afford a bigger house, or I have put this off because, I was in debt till I was 30 and I couldn't have children. And there are so many more reasons. And it just annoys me that we're fed this narrative, probably by some middle-aged man who has no clue what it's like to walk a mile in our generation's shoes. No, Alan, it's not because we've all of a sudden we've got rising infertility rates. It's because the cost of living has got so ridiculous. Even lawyers, doctors, teachers, etc. are having to put off having kids for financial reasons. And I'd love to know what you think about this. Am I missing the point? Maybe fertility rates are dropping, but I do think that has to do with age, and that we are having babies later now. Like the average age, as that article said, is like 31 for women. Which I imagine since 1977, when the last recorded low birth rate was, has increased a lot. So yeah, have you felt the pressures? Have you felt financial pressures around this? Let me know, the nightfeedpodcast@gmail.com. Now, this is a little public service announcement for you, and a trigger warning here. This is about a baby almost died in a dangerous situation. And I saw it on a forum and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to share that as a little reminder about how things we come across online, particularly on social media, another rant here, isn't always good and it isn't always helpful. So this couple had taken their 10-week-old out for a walk. It was pretty windy, for context. And the mum had seen this hack on social media where you allow your baby to do tummy time in the pram. I have never heard of doing tummy time in the pram. But anyway, this hack or this tip told her to do so. So they placed the boppy, which I've had to Google, and that's one of those breastfeeding pillows, in the pram. So they place that in the bassinet of the pram, and they let the baby have some tummy time whilst they walked. So essentially they thought they were allowing him to see out of the pram and that it'd be lovely for him, and he was on his tummy. And a few minutes pass and her husband takes a look at the baby as they're walking, and he's producing a lot of saliva, bubbles, and is gasping. And then the mum remembered seeing something about when babies start to struggle with breathing, they produce a lot of saliva. So luckily, she realised that the wind was preventing him from breathing. He was essentially holding his breath, and managed to avert this horrendous possibility. And thankfully, the baby was fine. And she posted this as a reminder to everyone that social media tips can be extremely dangerous. And if something looks odd and different and something that you've never heard of before, it probably is. So please be wary. It shakes you up hearing a story like that, doesn't it? It really, really does. It shook me up reading that. And it just goes to show you how easy it is to find yourself in a situation like this. They're so delicate. They're so young. People put things up on social media. They might not have even tried it themselves. They might be thinking, oh, this will get clicks. This will get views. So we have to be so, so, so careful and just always err on the side of caution, I would say. Okay, on to the emails we go. Charlotte, I need your advice. I don't know why I feel weird saying this, but at 6 months, my baby has only ever been held when napping. He suffered from colic as a newborn, and we just got into our swing by always contact napping. Now, 6 months in, I'm seeing all these videos about how babies should nap in their cot in a darkened room, and we should be strict during wait windows, and I feel like I'm failing. Oh, God. I also struggle sometimes that I'm not able to get anything done. Again, all these mums on Instagram seem to get so much done while their baby naps, and there's me sat watching TV or reading. Do I need to stop this? When will my baby naturally want to sleep in his cot? Help. Oh my gosh, doesn't this just reinforce what I said about social media and how it has a negative impact on us? This poor mum feels like she's failing because of videos she's watching on Instagram. I mean, first and foremost, you are absolutely not failing on any front. Your baby is getting the lovely nap time on your chest, which, let's be honest, is where our babies want to be at that age, isn't it? Especially in those early months. So stop looking at things that put you down. If you are happy with the contact naps, then ignore anyone or anything else. Personally, do you know what I think? I think more of us new mums need to embrace contact napping. It refreshes you, it recharges you, and you're ready for when the baby wakes. And if you do get to a point where your baby gets older, because I found when mine reached around the 9-month mark, they'd sleep for longer stretches. And then when they got to a little bit older than that, they would start to consolidate the nap into one in the afternoon. And it could stretch to about 2 hours. And that's when I would get bits done. Don't get me wrong, if you want to keep contact napping, then you do what you want to do. That's absolutely fine. But you will find, I think, when they get to that age, they do have more of a solid afternoon nap. And like I said, if you get to a point where you think, oh, actually, I could do with a bit of me time, or I could do with a bit of tidying time, maybe that's a good time to transition and put baby in the cot when they're a little bit older and they sleep for longer stretches. But yeah, don't feel like any pressure around this. There's so much bloody pressure, isn't there? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You do what's right for you and your baby. If he's enjoying them contact naps and you are reading or watching TV and not on social media, then enjoy it. Enjoy the downtime, because before you know it, your baby will be grown up and those naps will be a thing of the past. Yes, there'll be dishes in the sink. Yes, there'll be a laundry pile, but we all have a laundry pile and we all have dishes in our sink. So give yourself a bit of a break and stop watching things that make you feel bad. If you had no plans for New Year's Eve last night and maybe you felt a bit of FOMO, then rest assured you are not alone. I found this thread online called Parents of Babies, What Are You Doing for New Year's Eve? And I thought I'd read some of the responses. So this one says, sending husband out, ordering pizza and watching movies. I'll probably go into the baby's room and hold his hand at midnight. Oh, that's so sweet, isn't it? Next one is turning up the white noise and praying the fireworks don't wake him up. Yeah, absolutely. Staying home, toddler gave me hand, foot and mouth. Oh gosh. Spending a quiet evening in, little one is usually asleep by 7 or 8. I won't deviate from her routine because I'm not wanting to evoke a toddler tornado mode. Absolutely not. We live right on the edge of Midtown West, Times Square, so we're pretty much locked in, lol. Going to make something at home, drink some bubbles, and pray to God the noise isn't going to wake up our 14-month-old. Wow, I thought the fireworks were noisy near me. Gosh, Times Square. By Jove, that's next level surely, isn't it? Wow, I hope your baby slept through. And this one says, staying the fuck in. RSV and norovirus is rampant out in these streets. Wow. Muttering curses under my breath when the fireworks start. That is what I do now we have kids. And that is exactly what I do now we have kids. God, I've never hated fireworks so much than when I have 2 sleeping toddlers. And in the UK, we also have bonfire night, don't forget, when the fireworks seem to start in October and last till like mid-November. Bearing in mind, if you don't know, bonfire night's the 5th of November. They just go firework mad round our parts. Yeah, so as an adult with children, fireworks, I'm just not a fan anymore. I'm really not a fan. But that's just me being a Scrooge. Next tonight is Social Media Says. Am I changing the title of this segment to What's Trending? Maybe, following my little detox. We'll see. To further fuel the fire I am creating around social media tonight, here's something I saw, and it's a video by a healthcare professional. Now, she's actually a health visitor here in the UK, and she did a little experiment. So she looked at one of her patients' Facebook pages. This is a mum of a baby or a child. And from doing this little look on her Facebook page, she found out the child's age, date of birth, full name, medical history from when she posted about him being in hospital. She found the name of the daycare he went to and was even able to very quickly work out the room the child slept in within the house. That's from a quick look at this profile. Now, I've said before, I don't like posting my kids on social. I talk about them on here, on the podcast, but I never give their names, and I only share small anecdotes about them, really. But the way we can share on social media these days without thinking is pretty chilling. I then started thinking about some of the influencers I follow and just how much I know passively about their kids. It's shocking when you break it down. And some of these influencers really overshare, like pictures of broken arms and hospital visits. And you think, does that child at 8 really consent to that? Are they not going to get to 18 and be like, what the hell? Why do all these, some of these influencers have millions of followers. There was another one I saw where she woke her 4-year-old daughter up with a cake for her birthday. Very sweet, lovely. But this poor little girl was fast asleep, waking up to a phone in her face with millions of viewers in her bedroom. And I just think that's so intrusive. That's such a quiet moment that you should be having with your family, not with the world. And that's my take on it. And I think naturally, when we have a baby, there's almost like this natural instinct, if we're on social media, to show them off. We want to share them with the people we know or don't know, really, online. And the intentions behind that are pure, and it's done through love and pride. But when you strip things back, maybe there's a hell of a lot of oversharing going on. These kids will have this digital footprint forever, whether they like it or not. And it's absolutely something to think about if you would consider yourself as a bit of an oversharer. Next tonight is my self-care suggestion. Nice and simple tonight. Get yourself a travel mug for your coffee at home. I can't tell you the amount of times I warm up my coffee in the microwave. And now I'm pregnant, I'm trying to keep it to 1 cup a day. So I love to savour that 1 cup. And today I pulled out Jason's travel mug from the cupboard And I spent an hour intermittently sipping hot coffee, and it was divine. Works for tea too, obviously. Finally, to finish on a quote I wrote, "You hear my cry again, Mama. Your eyes sting as you glance at your phone. 3:38 a.m. It's only been an hour, but I need you again." You lie there for a moment, staring at the ceiling, trying to summon up the strength to get up. You're so tired, so worn down, and I wish I could tell you how much I appreciate you. But even though your body is aching and your heart feels heavy, you come to me. You always do. "Mama's here," you whisper as you lift me into your arms. I feel the warmth of your skin, the rhythm of your heartbeat, and it soothes me instantly. You sit in the quiet, rocking me gently in our chair, the world outside so still. As I nurse, I notice the tears slipping down your cheeks. You're silent, but I feel the weight you're carrying. You've barely had more than a few minutes of sleep tonight, and you're wondering how much you can keep going. But Mama, I wish you knew to me that you are incredible. You're the reason I feel safe, loved, and whole. I don't see the exhaustion in your eyes or the messy hair you think needs fixing. I see the woman who holds my entire world together, even when she feels like she's falling apart. You glance down at me as I drift back to sleep. You watch as my fingers curl around yours, how my body, full and satisfied, relaxes again in your arms. The rise and fall of my tiny chest, the way my lips move as I sleep. You take in the moment, just me and you under the stars, and you realize that while it's such a testing time, one day you'll look down at your aging hand and long for my tiny fingers to be curled around yours. Thanks for listening, as always. If you enjoy the podcast, could you tell another new mum that you know about it? Spread the word. I know word of mouth is really good for podcasts. And also, if you could rate and review, that would really help me as well. And I hope you're all well, and I hope you all have a restful, peaceful night ahead. Good night.